Bucknell with a lot of confidence coming into this matchup. A 12-5 showdown. 1 12-5 game in overtime right now. We expect this one to be tight. Florida State wins the opening tip. Karen Prieto, Kevin Dillard, Tim Green are officials for our second first-round game here at UNC Charlotte. Nikki Kamu, the junior out of Illinois, runs the show. Gillespie likes to shoot the three. Working into Valencia Myers. A little baby hook for 2.
Great start for Florida State to go into the freshman, and for her to be able to finish, it's a good sign.
Remember, the all-freshman team in the ACC, 4th on the team in scoring with 9 points a game. English. What should we look for offensively from Bucknell here today, Christy?
A lot of threes. You've got 5 players on the floor who can score off the bounce, can score from the 3, or can post you up. Great job by Kai English to get to the rim.
Trying to save it, but unable to is Morgan Jones, another freshman for Florida State.
Well, Eric, the versatility will be on full display of the Bucknell players. This is the point guard taking it off the bounce and finishing at the rim.
Kai English, senior from East Orange, New Jersey. Three-pointer. Everybody can shoot the 3 for Bucknell. That's Ellie Mack, 39% three-point shooter on the season. Bucknell making on average 8 a game. They attempt 22 a game. 6 players have attempted at least 73 pointers this year.
I'll say it again about the Bucknell offense. They can beat you in a variety of ways. They want to get to the rim first and foremost. They want to score in the low post. And then when you try to take that away, they've got 5 players who can spot up and knock it down.
Double down on Gillespie. Numbers the other way. Here's Walker, the senior, for Abby Kapp.
Eric, one thing we heard Coach Aaron Roussel say at nauseam yesterday was keep moving. Make them have to defend you, because when they stand still, their athleticism is greater than ours. And we saw that with the play of Slagus on that last basket.
Drive to the basket for Ikamu. Yeah, he had a lot of variations of that keep moving, because he said movement wins. And right now, 3-point shooting is winning for Bucknell. Good start for the Bison, up by 6.
And Eric, Florida State only goes 8 players. They're only dressing 8, so you're not going to see a lot of up-tempo from them after a make. Now, off a turnover or a long rebound, they will get out in transition and try to score. But after every make, they'll walk it up and try to rest some bodies. English
gets the steal, and back on the other end, a foul is called on Woolfolk. Well, this has been quite the coaching job put in by Sue Simrau. 22nd season, 428 wins. You mentioned they're only dressing 8 because they've had injuries. And we've seen it with so many teams across the country, and it's been a job done by Simrau here just to keep everything together. And she says she usually doesn't like a big roster. Now, this is a little extreme to get there, but down to 8 healthy players right now, and having kids grow up pretty fast.
Well, you're talking about the 2015 National Coach of the Year, and I've got to say, I think this is Sue's best coaching performance. Brand new offense, losing players preseason, losing players during the season, and she just knows how to keep them together, and they continue to win.
Maya Brown was a starting guard, left knee injury last week in January, a very good perimeter defender. Isabella Nicoletti, projected starting point guard, had an ACL injury last July. Iho Lopez was lost in the preseason, a scooter accident in October. So, and it rains and pours for Florida State, but they have made their way back to the NCAA tournament. Ranked 25th in the country. There's Kate Walker, and an early timeout called by Florida State. Bucknell doing what they want to do offensively, jumping out to a 7-point lead. Great start for the Patriot League champions here in Charlotte.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
The Bucknell Bison from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, the Patriot League champions after their 66-54 win over American for their 4th title. Most recently, they had won in 2017. And Aaron Russell has done an amazing job turning this into a championship program. 28 wins this year for Bucknell. That's a program record. As Russell, who you bumped into once or twice on the coaching trail, has done a great job.
I went against him when I was at Emory. He was at Chicago, and he's running very similar offense, and it's a very difficult offense to defend. And right now, he's got players in all 5 positions, what makes this so difficult because he spreads you out. And I'll say it again, the versatility of the players. They can beat you off the bounce, knock down the 3, and they can all post up.
And out of the timeout called by Florida State, a turnover will be Bucknell basketball. How many coaches have used a timeout when their team is perfect from the field so far? That's what Sue Semrau did.
Well, it shows you how well Bucknell is executing on the offensive end. Neither team has missed a shot to this point in the game. And the issue right now is I feel like Florida State's just chasing on defense. And Bucknell's getting whatever shot they want.
There's a turnover, the first for Bucknell. Florida State already with 4 turnovers. First round coverage of the Division I Men's Basketball Championship continuing today on CBS, TBS, TNT, True TV. For more information on game times and listings, go to ncaa.com. Trying to get it to Gillespie, try to get her going, leading the team in scoring and rebounding. Scoreless here in the first 4 minutes of this 5-12 matchup. Ellie Mack. All 5 starters have scored for Bucknell. That will just underscore the balance this team has.
Well, so many screens, and when everyone can score, you've got to help off those screens, and that's why they're getting the high percentage shots, the wide open shots that Bucknell is to this point in the game.
Kate Walker is a wing player, but the senior spends a lot of time close to the basket, sometimes with her back to the basket, posting up guards. She's got 4. Tough shot. Followed up and put in by Gillespie.
And I think that's the key for Florida State. Can they steal some points off second chance rebounds? Can they also get some points out of transition?
Courtney Weber, early entrant into the game for Florida State. That 3 well off the mark from Ellie Mack. And a foul is called on Cap.
Where you mentioned that Walker's a guard, but she's posting up and clears out the defender to the high side, snatches that ball, puts it in.
That's Courtney Weber off the bench, the freshman from New Orleans. Was in the starting lineup for a period of time, but we talked about how Sue Semrau has moved things around, trying to find good combinations. Gillespie has really been a big plus in her first year with this Florida State program after transferring over from Maryland. Spent 2 years with the Terrapins, 16 points a game, 9 rebounds a game. First team all-conference selection in the ACC. Good team defense from Florida. Savannah Wilkinson reached in for the tie-up. So Sue Semrau going to her bench early here, trying to find a spark with a couple of players. Wilkinson, the sophomore, and we mentioned Weber, the freshman.
A spark. A minute of rest here or there. I mean, again, 8 players. You got to get through the next 40 minutes, and this pace has been pretty quick so far, and that definitely bodes well for Bucknell.
English. Allie Johnson into the game for the Bison. Rebound grab by Florida State. Sione Lassiter into the game. So everybody available for Florida State has gotten into the game here in the first quarter. Second field goal for the junior from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Ikamu at 15 points a game. That's second on the team. 4 assists a game. That's first on the team. For those of you just joining us, we welcome you to UNC Charlotte. South Carolina, impressive defensive performance to win their matchup against Belmont. We're in the opening minutes of our second first-round game here in Charlotte between Bucknell in orange, Florida State in the home white, and a 3-second violation called on Bucknell. Bucknell came out, Christy Thomas-Scuddy was 5 for 5 from the field. This is a team that just doesn't feel happy to be here at the NCAA tournament. They feel like it's their time to win in the NCAA tournament.
the 12th seed awarded to Bucknell meant everything to them. It was almost like people believe in us outside of our own team. And Aaron Roussel said, hey, we're excited to play an opponent who's not on their home court. And this is definitely no one's home court here at UNC Charlotte. But he felt really good about the matchup. He felt really good about where his team is right now in the middle of March.
South Carolina is the host school, and because of a scheduling conflict at Colonial Life Arena, tournament being played here about 90 minutes north of Columbia in Charlotte on the campus of UNC Charlotte. And South Carolina had a pretty good crowd turnout to support the Gamecocks. They played one of their better games, as you mentioned before, in the last several weeks, especially on the defensive end. They'll take on the winner of this game. Florida State, an at-large bid, ranked 25th in the country. Bucknell, the Patriot League champions. The senior group will play poised basketball, and one of the seniors knocks down her third field goal. Kate Walker from Red Oak, Iowa.
They're so unselfish. And one thing I think to keep an eye on in this game is how much chasing Florida State's having to do through screens. No players being able to rest in the half-court defense. Something to watch going into the fourth quarter.
Wilkinson got the rebound, but it'll be Bucknell basketball. Sue Semrau, the veteran head coach, just trying to find ways, as Christy mentioned, to manage minutes, only with 3 reserves, 8 players dressed here today. So once again, 2 in, 2 out for Florida State. Kai English, starter since midway through her freshman year, the point guard. 14 points, 6 assists in the Patriot League championship game, gets fouled as she turned to look to make the pass. That's a foul on Nosh Woolfolk. That's her first personal, second team foul on Florida State.
Well, Eric, when you have shooters that can spot up and knock it down, you want a playmaker like Kai English to be able to set the table, to draw defenders and kick out to those shooters. And so far, she's done a great job of that to this point in the game.
Cap couldn't get it to go after making a pretty good move, and now a foul called on Caitlin Slagis, a senior from the Pittsburgh area, who is the MVP of the Patriot League tournament. See Slagis, 13 points, 7 rebounds a game, leading the team in both categories. Career game number 132 today. Experience counts.
Well, and that's another reason why I feel like this Bucknell team is so dangerous. You've got veterans. You've got players who have been in the NCAA tournament. They know how to win against a really inexperienced Florida State team. 8 players, every player on this team right now is in a new role for Sue Semrau. And so you're seeing some of the inconsistencies as the season ended. And so I'm really eager to see, as this game continues, how the young guards especially perform for Florida State.
Well, there's an example right there, because Ikamu has played off the ball. She's a point guard this year for the first time, and she just ran the point pretty well. Gets the assist there as Florida State brings it back to a 3-point game. Bullfolks got 4. And a foul called on Florida State. The NCAA Wrestling Championships continue tonight in Pittsburgh. We just mentioned Caitlin Slagis. We're all over Pittsburgh right now. Catch the semifinals at 8 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app, and special multi-mat coverage on ESPN3. Visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Freshman Marley Walls from Bardstown, Kentucky, steps to the line. Playing 12 minutes a game, has appeared in all 33 this year for Bucknell. Here's Taylor O'Brien, excellent athlete, checks in for the Bison. Bucknell has won 6 in a row and 18 of their last 19 games as they come into the tournament. And if you're just joining us, Christy talked about it before. How important is it that Bucknell is a 12 seed? That's the highest seed for any team in the Patriot League's history since 1994.
Well, it's why they're playing Florida State and say not a South Carolina. More of a neutral contest for them today. And so far, they've come out very aggressively. They are trying to get to the rim. And so far, they've executed their offense at will.
It's just one spot from 12 to 13, but it seems to be the biggest jump when you talk about how this tournament is set up. And we saw it in the first game just recently in their first 12-5 of the day, where Marquette and Rice went to overtime. And we have another tight 12-5 game with inside of a minute to go now in the first quarter.
Well, Eric, you've worked with me long enough to where I always talk about it's matchups in the game of basketball. It's how do you match up against your opponent. And I think for Bucknell, they match up extremely well with the Florida State team, maybe versus some of the other fours out there.
Good hustle play by Gillespie, who ends up halfway down the tunnel, it looked like, trying to save that, and she threw it off of Ellie Mack, according to the officials.
Hey, it's tournament time. Every possession matters, and so you've got to lay it out. You've got to try to get your team extra possessions.
I think this is a free possession for Florida State because it looked like Gillespie was standing out of bounds when she got to it. Inside of a minute to go. Batted out of the hands of Woolfolk by Allie Johnson with 19 to shoot for Florida State. Seminoles with the basketball, down by 3. Final minute of the first quarter. Gillespie can't get it, but she'll get a chance at the free throw line thanks to the work on the glass.
She's so good at using change of speed, Gillespie is. And I love the fact that she stayed with her shot, because I'll reiterate this. I think Florida State has got to create extra offense through transition points and through second chance points for them to get out of here today with a W.
Rebounding number is one to watch. They are +7 right now in rebounding margin here in the final minute of the first quarter. Gillespie 68% from the free throw line. Kate Walker will come back into the game as Bucknell will work for a final shot. Now a 1-point game. Kai English. Lassiter slowing her down. Walker down to 7. Mack, entry pass is tipped away. It'll be Bucknell basketball. Kate Walker will trigger the inbounds. Out to Mack. Mack, little off balance, can't get the roll, and that will do it for quarter number 1, where Bucknell at one point had a 9-point lead.
1-point difference in this ball game, and the bottom line is who wants it more? You've got to create extra possessions. Great hustle by Kaya Gillespie.
Give you an idea how young this Florida State team is. Actually, Florida State personnel did the research. I'm trusting they examined birth dates and birth certificates across the country. At 19.4 years old, this is the youngest team in the NCAA tournament.
And yet, Sue Summerall still has her blonde hair and not Grace. That might be the best, the winning job that she's done this season. But I loved when we asked her about it. She said, you know what, we switched the offensive system. So with so much youth, so many new players, it was a perfect time to do that. And the reasoning, she wanted to better prepare her players for professional basketball. She didn't feel like she was doing a good enough job of that. And I love that about Sue. She's always learning, always growing, trying to put her players in the best position possible for success beyond college.
Florida State basketball out of the quarter break, and Myers inside. She's got 4. 4th leading scorer on this team, 9 points a game. And Florida State, after being down by 9, on top by 1. Mack, who hit the 3 early, can't hit the 3 here, and an easy rebound for Gillespie.
And that's great offensive execution by Bucknell. English attacks off that hedge, and Mack's wide open. Unfortunately, can't knock it down. But those are the looks Bucknell continues to get.
Well, that was a hot pass and a good catch by Myers. Couldn't finish, but taken right back by Florida State. English from behind trying to knock it away. And out of the scramble, an open 3. Woolfolk's got 5.
The perimeters of Florida State are showing up in a big way right now. They're taking what the defense gives them, but they're also elevating from pull-up jumpers and the three-point line.
That won't go down. A rebound for Gillespie. Gillespie with 6 rebounds and 6 points. Saved by Lassiter. Gillespie tried to feed it to Woolfolk on the back cut, but it's turnover for Florida State.
Well, when we asked Sue Summerall yesterday who needs to play well, she immediately said Naja Woolfolk needs to be aggressive offensively. I think her coach is happy with that 3.
She's outstanding defensively, but she has done it offensively as well. 3rd on the team in scoring, better than 13 points a game. Called her our attack guard. Walker got knocked around a little bit. Turnover for Bucknell. 5th turnover for the Bison. This is not unfamiliar territory for Gillespie. Tries the 3. Slagus has it. Quiet so far for Slagus here. Walker leans in and can't get a 3 to stay down. Woolfolk, smooth J, and a timeout being called here by Bucknell. Florida State with a great start to the quarter. They have outscored Bucknell 7-0 here to start the second quarter in Charlotte. Snapshot for Florida State, 23 wins, 10 coming in conference play, a 6th place finish in the ACC as they make their 18th NCAA appearance. We talked about the injury problems. They were having problems in this game here today, but they've turned it around, and now Florida State on top by 6.
I've got to credit Sue. I mean, every time a player comes out, she's positive. Every time someone makes a mistake, she's just so positive. And I think what I would say she's done, she's taken pressure off her players. 8 players, they all know they're going to play. They all know if they make a mistake, they're going to come back in and play again. But she's just made this fun. Watching them in practice yesterday, they were having fun. It's very much a, hey, with everything that's happened to us, we weren't expecting to be here, but we are. Let's make the most of it.
And you get a chance to see Sue right now because she has been high energy after that slow start. Slagus, who has been out of the rhythm of the Bucknell offense here for a little bit, now with 4.
I like the fact that Bucknell went back inside, got Slagus a touch on the low block, because I just feel like it puts so much pressure on the defense when the ball goes inside out, and especially when you have 3-point shooters to knock it down from the outside.
Block. Seppi comes out to get the block. Scramble for the loose ball, won by Bucknell. Hustle play by the Bison, started by Autumn Seppi's block shot. English lost the handle. It'll be Florida State basketball. The NCAA Women's Championship continues tonight at 6:30 and 7 Eastern Time, 3:30 and 4 o'clock Pacific Time. That's next on ESPN2 with more first-round matchups. You can check your local listings for the game in your area. Remember, also live at all times on the ESPN app. Any game you want to see, you can check it out on the app in its entirety, and you can watch anywhere. Woolfolk. Slagus gets the rebound and finds English for the outlet. Good job by Florida State. Slowing down English. She's tough to slow down.
When we asked Aaron Rousseau yesterday the keys for his offense, he said, we've got to make shots. You can tell that this Bucknell team's mojo is about putting points through the hole. The second thing he said is we've got to handle their athleticism. And time before last, when English turned it over, she's got to push tempo, but she's also got to know when to pull it back out like she just did and get her team into a half-court offense.
Autumn Seppi gets her first points. Gillespie was fouled as she grabbed the rebound. Abby Kapp picks up the personal foul. That's her second personal foul. So she'll head to the bench. Seppi checks out. Mack is back in for Bucknell along with Walls. Kamu, offensive foul. Well done by Marley Walls, the freshman, taking the contact.
Great defensive stand by Bucknell. Oh, great job by Walls to move her feet. I'm assuming there was a push off there a little bit because I wasn't quite sure she got there in time.
Rachel Dumiak into the game for Bucknell as well. Sets up in the corner. Slagus. Ellis. Slagus. 4-3. 40% from outside the three-point line. 43 pointers made now on the season. She's got 7. And Bucknell has gone back in front by 1.
Well, credit Mack. She puts the ball on the floor. That pulled Slagus defense to kind of help, and Slagus just spotted up and knocked down the 3.
On the drive, a foul called will send Myers to the free throw line. She'll try to stop this 7-0 run for Bucknell.
Well, I mentioned how good this Bucknell offense is. When the ball goes inside, a little inside-out action between the two post players, and Slagus knocks down the 3.
Aaron Russell told us she's going to be taking shots today. He needs her to make shots today, and she's done that at a very good clip throughout her career. A 4-year starter. Myers stops that 7-0 Bucknell run. Even at 26 here in Charlotte. Slagus in trouble and lost out of bounds. Turnover for Bucknell. That's their 7th.
And Eric, I think that's a great example of what Coach Russell was saying. We've got to stay in motion. Ball went dead and players stood still. And I'm sorry, Florida State forces that turnover.
That 3 won't go down. Woolfolk crashes the glass and gets it to go. She's in the double figures now with 11.
And I think on the glass is where we're seeing that difference in athleticism right now. If Bucknell doesn't put a body on a Florida State player, they're just going to go up and above and get those second chance points.
Walls, perhaps a bit of a force, but she drew contact and will earn a trip to the free throw line.
Every time Walls has put the ball on the floor so far, she is initiating contact and trying to make these officials call a foul.
Marley Walls at the free throw line to shoot a couple. Did not score in the Patriot League championship game. Autumn Seppi back in for Bucknell. Taylor O'Brien checks in as well, as Ellis and Dumiak will sit down.
I almost wonder if Aaron Russell's strategy is a little mental warfare. Well, I'm just going to keep running bodies in and out to remind you that I've got more depth than you do and see how it plays out.
I've got these pieces, yeah. He was definitely concerned about the pressure his team would face. He thought they could handle any pressure from Florida State. Good move inside. Myers has 8 first-half points. Struggled against NC State last time out for Florida State when they got knocked out of the ACC tournament in the quarterfinal round. Scored 6 points, had 2 early fouls, was out of the rhythm, fouled out of the game. And now Bucknell turns it over.
Well, I wasn't sure how Valencia Myers would match up today, but on the offensive end, she's showing up in a big way. Every time she gets a touch, she's being aggressive and trying to score.
will remain Florida State ball. Stay tuned for our halftime report. Maria Taylor is in the studio, and we'll keep you updated on all the games going on around the country. And we've got a lot going on today. Rutgers and Buffalo. How about the Missouri-Drake matchup? A&M and Wright State. All eyes to see how Kennedy Carter performs in College Station. O'Brien has the rebound for Bucknell. O'Brien looked like it was going to be a turnover as she tried to get it to Mack, who kind of looks at the freshman and just say, let's just slow it down a little bit, but a foul called on Florida State. Well, there are plenty of games we're interested in, we collectively, but how about you, Christy Thomas-Scuddy? What are you interested in watching unfold in this tournament?
Well, Eric, there is no we without you. So, again, we know what Notre Dame can do offensively. I'm eager to see defensively. Have they shored that up a little bit? Because they can't just keep trying to outscore people based on offense alone. And Katie Lou Samuelson, not just being back in the lineup for UConn, but can she and her fellow guards stretch defenses to open up the low post play for Nafisa Collier, as well as the driving lanes? Oh. And then as this Greensboro Regional continues on, I can't wait to see the head-to-head low post action.
O'Brien's making a good contribution off the bench here for Bucknell. Scored on one end, gets the steal on the other end, and draws a foul. So Bucknell getting some contributions from that deep bench. Tied at 30 with 2 minutes to go, first half.
Well, I feel like O'Brien and Seppi, both athletically speaking, match up a little bit better with this Florida State offense and defense than some of their peers do.
Seppi gets called for the illegal screen up top. As you take a look at Taylor O'Brien, our head coach said the best athlete we've ever recruited. State finalist in the high jump and the 300 hurdles in Pennsylvania. Seppi will go to the bench. O'Brien playing 10 minutes a game, getting a little extra run here in the first half. Off the miss, following her own miss, is Jones, freshman from Jonesboro, Georgia, getting her first points.
That offensive rebound, you see the potential of Jones, just her athletic ability, and her skills haven't quite caught up yet, but when they do, look out.
90 seconds to go in the second quarter. Gillespie fighting for it. Florida State's been very good on the offensive glass. 9 offensive rebounds for the Seminoles so far.
And Eric, I feel like Bucknell's getting caught watching shooters shoot versus driving them back and putting a tail in them. They've got to do a better job of boxing out and limiting Florida State to one shot.
Seminoles looking for the 3. Florida State held to one shot here. So after the 6-for-6 start for Bucknell, what has Florida State done well over this last quarter and a half since that point?
Well, they've definitely been able to get up and pressure the ball more. So that's taken away some passing lanes. It's disrupted the offensive flow of Bucknell. But I also believe Bucknell just didn't knock down some wide open looks.
Ball in the hands of the senior point guard, English. That open look won't go down for the Bison. Bucknell's 3 for 9 from outside the three-point line. It's a big part of their offense at 38%, and a foul called on Florida State. Second on Jones.
I'm not quite sure about that call. I thought the defender was still moving, but regardless, charges called. We're going the other way.
See Florida State's head coach kind of directing traffic on the defensive end, switching things now. The post up for Walker. Slagus. Don't know if somebody got a piece of that one. It came up well short. Florida State holding for a final shot, up by 2. Open shot is off the mark, picked up by Bucknell. Look at the clock, and that will do it for the first half. Florida State outscored Bucknell 14-11 in the second quarter. And after falling behind by 9 in the first quarter, Florida State will take a lead to the locker room. But this is a tight 12-5 matchup, another tight 12-5 matchup on the opening day of the NCAA. Florida State called a timeout, turned things around there. You can see how they've dominated on the boards. Second chance points for Sue Semrau's team. 4 ties, 4 lead changes in the first half. Bucknell was up by 9. Florida State was up by 6 at one point in the first half. This 12-5 matchup resumes third quarter here in Charlotte. Bucknell gets the first possession of the second half. Cap looked like she lost the handle, but it's going to go into the books as an assist in my book. Kelly Mack with 5.
I don't know how that ball got through to Mack, but great job of staying alert, grabbing it and snatching it and putting it in.
Slagus leading Bucknell in scoring with 7 in the first half. Woolfolk with 11 points to pace Florida State. Gillespie backs inside, can't get it, and again on the glass. Florida State owning the boards right now.
Well, if you can't score on your first chance, you got to create second and third chance opportunities, and great job by Florida State to stay with it.
Kate Walker picks up the personal foul. That's her first, and this is Morgan Jones at the free throw line. Christie's talked about the roles changing for Florida State. This is the 8th straight start for Morgan Jones, the freshman. She's been averaging better than 7 points a game as a starter. Has 3 here this afternoon.
Well, I just love her length, especially from a defensive perspective. She can really disrupt, and I have a feeling right now that's why she's on Kai English as she gets called for the hand check. But let's try to prevent the engine of this Bucknell offense from seeing the floor. But unfortunately, Jones is going to come out of the game with that foul.
That's her 3rd personal foul, so she will take a seat. A reminder, just 8 dressed for Florida State, so foul trouble can be something that becomes a big issue for the Seminoles. Mack, open 3. That was the theme of the first half, at least the second part of that first half, in your opinion. Bucknell had good looks, just weren't making them.
Another great execution on the half court. High on ball screen. English turns the corner, pulls the post defender. Mack spots up. Unfortunately, can't knock it down.
Woolfolk looking for the foul, didn't get it, and now Bucknell wants to run off the miss. Slagus. Mack tries to work on Gillespie. That's a tough challenge. Gillespie with the rebound. Gillespie, and a foul called on Slagus for Bucknell. That's her 2nd personal foul. The road to the Frozen Four ices up Sunday, 7 o'clock Eastern, with the NCAA Men's Ice Hockey Selection Special on ESPNU and the ESPN app. Visit ncaa.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. First free throw good for the redshirt junior from Meriden, Connecticut, Kaya Gillespie.
Well, Gillespie's another one who's had some good looks. Low post move, couldn't get to go down. A wide open 3, couldn't get to go down. You hope her seeing the ball go through the net on these free throws gets her going offensively.
Gillespie will come out of the game after making the free throws. A little instruction from her head coach before she sits down. Wilkinson back on for Florida State. Mack tries to work on Wilkinson, who gets called for the foul.
Credit Bucknell because they are getting to the rim and they are initiating the contact off the bounce and forcing officials to make calls.
It's interesting when you look at the Bucknell numbers, you assume, well, they'll spread the floor, get open looks from outside the three-point line, but they're a team, according to what you saw when breaking down film and also talking to their head coach, Aaron Russell. It's, you know, we got to get inside. We got to attack the basket. And Mack now at the free throw line.
And that's what I love about this offense. You want to win consistently, get layups, get high percentage shots, and once you're getting to the rim, then allow that outside game to be set up and get those high percentage threes.
Foul called on Bucknell. As a team this season, shooting 46% from the field, a very efficient team, an unselfish team, 16 assists a game. Kai English gets her first personal foul. Three-point shot has not been there for Florida State. It hasn't been a big part of their offense this year, averaging just over 5 a game, hitting at 28%. And they're 1 for 8 today from the three-point line. Bucknell wants to run. English. A little bit of a lull right now in this game. It's a 1-point game, third quarter. 12-5 matchup. 12-5 matchup earlier today between Rice and Marquette. Went to overtime before Marquette pulled it out, the 5 seed, 58-54. 5 seed in this game is Florida State, and the Seminoles have been whistled for another foul. Lassiter picks up her second personal. So no one for Florida State yet with 3 fouls. However, there is some thin ice with Myers and Jones and Woolfolk and Lassiter all with 2.
You almost feel like right now the first to 50 might win this game.
So 12-5 matchup has been a volatile one. This is the highest seed for Bucknell in their program history in the NCAA tournament. Highest seed for any Patriot League team for that matter, getting a 12 seed. Since the field expanded to 64 teams back in 1994, a 12 has defeated a 5 22 times. Slagus pulls down the rebound.
Well, this is the second time in a row Gillespie's gone over that left shoulder to finish with the right hand. When I thought if she'd have gone to the left, she was wide open.
Slagus can't get the runner. Both teams cold shooting here in this quarter. And a kick ball. It will remain Florida State ball. Substitutions for the Seminoles. Here's Courtney Weber into the game. Myers will head to the bench. Lassiter sits down as well. Ikamu's been quiet, hasn't scored here in the second half. Gillespie works on Ellis. Batted around, Bucknell ball.
I'll say it again, both teams are getting the looks they want. Gillespie down on the block, getting a high percentage shot, can't make it fall. Bucknell's answering on the other end with wide open looks and can't get it to go down.
Inside of 6 to go in the third quarter. The winner of this game takes on South Carolina Sunday. English. Another open look. This one drops for Ellie Mack.
You felt like it was just a matter of time. She kept getting high percentage, wide open 3 looks, and finally Mack was able to knock it down.
Quickly back the other way. Weber scores. Back for Mack. Slagus straightaway 3. One and done, and now Florida State on the run. Tied at 37. Ikamu was fouled, and she'll go to the free throw line. Ellie Mack, outstanding three-point shooter at 39%. Finally got an open look to go.
But credit English. She puts it on the floor, pulls Mack's defender, and then just kicks it out to the shooter who knocks it down.
Mack now 2 for 6 from outside the three-point line. Foul on Cap. That's her third personal foul. So Cap will come out of the game. Seppi back in. Allie Johnson is in. Ellie Mack will go to the bench.
Eric, 2 consecutive possessions for Florida State where they pushed tempo in transition and were able to get points. I'd like to see them do more of that because right now the half-court offense is so stagnant for them and they hadn't finished in the half-court.
Three-pointer Count it for Kate Walker, her first points of the second half. Bucknell up by 2. Batted around, Seppi clears out a little space to make sure it was last touched by Florida State. It will be Bucknell basketball when we come back. The 12 seed, the Bison, trying to come back against Florida State.
NCAA Women's Championship, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
In Charlotte, a win for South Carolina over Belmont, the number 4 seed, knocking off the number 13 seed, 74-52. One of the best defensive performances that South Carolina's had in quite a while, and they spread it out on offense, Christy.
Well, Alexis Jennings manned the low post, and then it was Ty Harris from the outside, and they have made this UNC Charlotte campus their own this weekend.
They will play Sunday against the winner of this game, Dawn Staley, getting a little snack and getting a little scout. Staley's team putting 74 on the board and giving up just 52 after giving up 95 in their most recent game against Arkansas in the SEC tournament. Time to be determined on Sunday. We expect a pretty big crowd will make it up here from Gamecock Country. Again, they're playing the tournament here because Colonial Life Arena is being used for the men's NCAA tournament. So Charlotte and South Carolina working together to host for the Gamecocks. These 4 teams coming together here at UNC Charlotte. Now the timeout, Seppi can't hit a 3-pointer, and here comes Florida State down by 2. Tough shooting half of these 2 teams. As Christy's mentioned time and again, they've had opportunities, but 1 for 9 for Florida State, 3 for 9 for Bucknell. They get 1 for 10. Second chance, though, an offensive rebound for Weber.
Beautiful move by Valencia Myers. Great step through to use her length to get by the defender to finish.
Myers now with 9. 13 offensive rebounds for Florida State, 0 offensive rebounds for Bucknell. Florida State gets a defensive rebound. Jones. Florida State gets out in transition. Count the basket and a chance for a 3-point play.
When you're going to struggle in your half-court execution, get out and run in transition. Morgan Jones finishes and gets the and 1.
Slagus now with 3 personal fouls. So 3 on Cap, 3 on Slagus, couple of the Bucknell starters. Jones has 3 for Florida State. She'll go to the bench after finishing off the 3-point play. Jones has 6 points, 5 rebounds. Bucknell has Allie Johnson on the floor. Outside of that, the other 4 starters are out there. And a block shot. Florida State dialing it up a little bit here. They've been controlling the glass from the start. Now getting a stop. Ikamu spins it up, can't get it. Myers for 2.
How big has Valencia Myers been today for Florida State? She's done it in the low post-ups. She's done it with her rebounding.
Florida State has gone on a 7-0 run to go up by 3. Big time 3 at a time when Bucknell needed it. Allie Johnson knocks it down. First points of the game for the sophomore from Kentucky.
I mean, let's just say Bucknell's not going to ever be out of this game because of their proficiency of knocking down the long ball. And I'm going to say it again, they are making Florida State work on defense, having to chase them through screens. I'm eager to see the cumulative effect come 4th quarter.
Ikamu can't hit the 3, but an offensive rebound and another opportunity for Florida State, but then an offensive foul. Lassiter picks up her third.
Well, Florida State needs to be able to convert those second chance opportunities. And when you run over a solid defender, that's not the way to do it.
Florida State out of the ACC with a 2-point lead over the Patriot League champions, Bucknell. Walker. This is a veteran Bucknell team. Walker's a senior. English is a senior. Slagus is a senior. They have combined for 102 wins in their time at Bucknell. They are all 1,000-point scorers. Answering on the other end is Gillespie.
Again, if I'm Bucknell right now, I'm going to sit on that left shoulder and not let her come over it, because that's what Gillespie wants to go to in the low post.
And a whistle stops play and a foul called on Florida State. Every team's goal is to make it to Tampa Bay, where coverage of the women's Final Four begins Friday, April 5th, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Lassiter picks up her fourth personal foul. Both teams in the bonus with 1:24 to go in the quarter, with Mack at the free throw line. So Lassiter will sit down. Jones back in. Mack makes them both 83% from the free throw line, best on the team. She's got 12 points to lead Bucknell, and we are tied again. Seppi tried to sell the charge. Officials weren't buying it. And the finish for Woolfolk. Walker knocked away, and she gets called for the foul. That'll be her second.
Merrick, you've spoken to the maturity, the experience of the Bucknell players. And in that possession, Kai English came off the on-ball, wanted Seppi to get it inside to Max. She's yelling at her to do it, but the young player in Seppi just didn't see the pass ahead of time. And unfortunately, it ultimately led to a turnover.
Wasn't a player control foul, it was a battle for a loose ball, so they are going to shoot free throws here for Florida State with 54 seconds to go in the third quarter. Ikamu 81% from the line. She made her first 3 shots, but she's missed her last 11 from the field. Delivers at the free throw line. She's got 9. 3 in double figures for Florida State. Woolfolk leading the way with 13. Gillespie has 10. 11 for Myers. Walker drives it, count it, and the foul.
Great aggressive take by Walker. Gets it on the wing, puts it on the floor, goes right at Morgan Jones, forces her to open her hips so she knows she has her, gets to the rim, draws the foul, the 4th now on Morgan Jones. This is going to put Florida State into a huge bind in terms of the perimeter players.
We told you the ice was getting thin. Well, Lassiter now with 4, Jones now with 4, no one else with more than 2, but the rotation's so tight that impacts it with 36 seconds to go in the third quarter. Walker will head to the bench. She's got 14. Kamu. Gillespie, corner 3. She is the team leader in threes made and threes attempted this year. Don't be surprised if she pops off a corner 3 when her team needs a basket. Knocks it down, and Florida State is on top by 4. Final 7 seconds of the quarter. Dumiak works it in to Mack. Mack, a little too strong, and that's the end of the third quarter. And Florida State will take a 4-point lead to the fourth.
4-point lead, Eric, because your ACC selection, Kaya Gillespie, spots up and knocks it down from deep.
Getting ready for the start of the fourth quarter. Florida State was up by 2 at halftime. It's a 4-point lead for the number 5 seed here in the Greensboro Regional over the 12 seed Bucknell. South Carolina already with a win over Belmont. Winner of this game will take on South Carolina on Sunday. Part of the Greensboro Regional. Number 1 Baylor, they'll get things started in Waco tomorrow against Abilene Christian. And Cal and UNC also in Waco. Already today, Louisville with a 35-point win to get things started on day 1 of the NCAA women's tournament. How about Michigan with a very impressive win in an 8-9 game, 30 points over K-State. Iowa had to sweat it out against Mercer. Mercer took care of the basketball, just 3 turnovers. But as every team in the country has found out, it's hard to take care of Megan Gustafson, who had 30 of Iowa's 66 points.
You know she's there, but can you stop her?
The answer is absolutely not. What an amazing season for the senior from Port Wing, Wisconsin.
It shows you the depth of women's basketball this year, though. Gustafson's not a runaway player of the year candidate right now because there's just been so many other great performances this season.
Who will make the great performance in this game? Slagus, a senior, knocks down a 3 to bring it down to a 1-point game.
Where, to finish my comment, like you got Nafisa Collier, who is playing out of her mind in that American tournament. Kalani Brown is playing phenomenal as well. There's just so many top players right now. And again, I think this is why it makes this tournament so wide open. It's who's going to show up and lead their team to victory.
And you didn't even mention 2 players who I think are going to be on a lot of people's ballots for Player of the Year, Asia Durr and Sabrina Ionescu.
Without a doubt. I mean, again, we could go even deeper down the line.
Go ahead. Give me a sleeper. You got a sleeper pick?
Ooh, that's for Player of the Year. I don't think there's a way to be Player of the Year and be a sleeper pick.
No. Everybody, there's no such thing. There's a sleeper tournament team here that we're probably going to see emerge out of this first round today and tomorrow.
Well, could it be the Bison?
Walker tried the reverse, couldn't get it. Gillespie had picked up her first personal foul, so she's not in foul trouble, but Florida State's dealing with a little of it right now. And dealing with the lack of depth, throwing out towards the backcourt. And Florida State arguing, Meyer saying it was tipped, but it was not. That is turnover number 14 for Sue Semrau's team. 10 turnovers for Bucknell. They have taken care of the basketball. Florida State, without the numbers, without that depth, they haven't been in press mode at all here today.
Well, I'll go back to, I feel like Florida State has to attack out of transition to get some offensive points on the board.
Slagus, nice little fake, had to change a shot, and she was fouled, and she will go to the free throw line to shoot a couple in a 1-point game. Sports Center tonight after NCAA Wrestling with John Anderson and Michael Eaves. They'll have post-game reaction from the Duke matchup with North Dakota State as Zion takes the floor for the first time in NCAA tournament play. Plus, Thunder and Raptors going head-to-head 2 days after Toronto's OT win, and the Lakers face playoff elimination. It says here how it all went wrong, but I believe it's only a 1-hour Sports Center. That's going to take a lot longer than that to go through that.
Are you adding your commentary?
Was it subtle enough for you? Slagus will check out after making 2 at the free throw line. Senior from Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania, with 12 points. We are 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Bucknell has a 1-point lead. A rebound controlled by the Bison. They have numbers here if they push it. Walker realizes it, but now they'll reset. Seppi, her entry pass is tipped, and a foul is going to be called here. I think it's on Woolfolk.
Yeah, Woolfolk definitely got caught hooking Seppi down low as she tried to go around to get that steal.
That's her third.
Woolfolk just gets caught behind. You kind of see her give it the little hug as she tries to go for that steal.
English, three-pointer is good. Abby Kapp has been quiet. Second three-pointer of the game. The sophomore makes the three, and a timeout is called by Florida State. Bucknell on top by 4. 7:27 to go in the fourth.
Coach Roussel said Abby Kapp had to come up big for his team today. Nothing bigger than that three.
The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Back on the campus of UNC Charlotte, inside Halton Arena, we've got a good one, a 12-5 matchup, a 4-point lead for the number 12 seed Bucknell. As you take a look at the game summary, Florida State fell behind by 9 in the first quarter, but they chipped away, led by 2 at halftime, by 4 at the end of 3. But right now it's a run for Bucknell to go in front by 4.
Great execution out of the timeout. Unfortunately, Woolfolk can't get the layup to go down for Florida State.
An 8-0 run for the Bison. Has a chance to continue. Fed inside, Seppi. Kept the handle, open 3. But a long rebound, and it's the senior Walker who tracks it down. And a second chance here for the Bison. After going the first half without an offensive rebound, 3 offensive rebounds here in the second half for Bucknell. English, tough take. Courtney Weber with it.
Eric, I would love to see a low post touch, whether it's for Gillespie or Myers. I feel like Florida State's gone away from that.
Gillespie got the touch, gets a second touch. But no hoop for Florida State. Walker skips it. Mack blocked by Gillespie into the hands of her teammate. Big defensive play by Kaya Gillespie. Woolfolk, offensive foul. That's her 4th.
Woolfolk's coming out of transition, trying to make something happen for her team. Unfortunately, gets called with the push off there.
She goes to the bench with 4. The third Seminole with 4 fouls. Lassiter comes back into the game, playing with 4. English for Slagus. And lost out of bounds. Turnover for Bucknell. That's their 11th turnover. They've done a great job taking care of the basketball today. Myers has had a good game in the post for Florida State with 11 points. See if they can find her here.
Yeah, Eric, to your point, I like it when Gillespie's facing and Myers has been down low, and Florida State just missed it because they had a mismatch with Kai English on Myers on the low block.
Now, things getting stuck here for Florida State. They had a couple players in the same place, but Myers will get a trip to the free throw line after all that.
Beyond impressed with Valencia Myers today. She's done some things that I haven't seen to this point this season. Her aggressiveness just now off the bounce was quite impressive.
Slagus is the first Bucknell player with 4 personal fouls. So she looks down towards the bench, reminding her she's got 4, and a nod like, I understand, but she's going to come out of the game. And Seppi will come in. Just too much time left with 4 fouls and 5:20 to go in the fourth quarter, right?
Well, and I just feel like Slagus is your emotional leader on top of everything. And so right now, you're up 3. Let's give our team a little bit more time in this game. Let's even give Slagus a break. and then bring her back in another minute or two, probably under the next media timeout.
Myers, very good free throw shooter at 79%. She's had a really good freshman year, averaging 9 points and 6 rebounds a game. She's got 13 here in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Here's some pressure from Florida State.
I like the call. Bucknell seemed to be in a flow offensively, so let's switch up the defense. Great call from the bench.
It results in a turnover. On the back cut. Great change and adjustment and finish.
Wow, what a finish. Great pass. Great finish at the rim.
Kamu now with 11. Good dish, and it's Walker inside. The feed from Mack.
Great answer by Bucknell. Momentum had shifted back to Florida State before that bucket.
Myers with the left hand, and we're tied again at 60. English. Walker's drive, clean block by Myers, and picked up by Lassiter. Foul called on Bucknell. Strong defense from Florida State as they tried to dig in, trying to avoid the upset. Can Bucknell pull it out? 4:09 to go in the fourth. Timeout here in Charlotte. We're tied at 60. Time to take a look at today's Capital One rewarding performance, and the fact that Bucknell is tied with the number 5 seed. You got to give the credit to how Bucknell has shot the three, Christy, here down the stretch.
5 of 11 in the second half. We said that every player can knock it down. In this half alone, Max hit a 3. Slagus, Walker, Cap, and Allie Johnson.
We are tied for the 12th time. We've had 9 lead changes. We still have 4:09 to go in the fourth quarter. Another 12-5 matchup going down to the wire. Marquette, the 5 seed, needed overtime to knock off 12 seed Rice earlier today. Florida State basketball out of the timeout. Kamu and Gillespie. Gillespie wide open for the 3, but Kamu wants it, gets it, and the foul.
That was sheer will. I'm not even sure how she got past the outstretched hands of the defenders, but draws the contact off of the bounce, elevates, and knocks it down.
So a decision has been made by Aaron Russell, the head coach for Bucknell. Seppi picks up her 4th personal, and checking into the game with 4 personal fouls is Caitlin Slagus. First team all-conference selection, the tournament MVP. Playing now with 4. With a trip to the second round on the line.
Well, I think at any point, all things being equal, every coach is going to go with the experienced player, and that's why Slagus is back on the floor now.
Kamu now with 14 points, 4 in double figures for Florida State. They go right to Slagus, who gets the contact, and a foul is called on Myers. That's her 3rd.
Well, Rick, if you're gonna if you're going to put her in, you might as well go to her. Great job by Slagus to draw the foul.
78% from the free throw line. Had a team-high 23 points in the Patriot League Championship game to go along with 7 rebounds and 4 blocks. Was 9 of 14 from the field. She's been a big game player. Closing in on 1,000 career rebounds. Has almost 1,500 career points. 2 big ones right there. So now it's going to be offense, defense. Even though Seppi's got 4, Slagus goes to the bench with the 4 with Florida State on offense.
And great call by Aaron Russell. I do the exact same thing. Seppi's just a mainstay on your offensive end. And right now, defense is playing okay against a team in the half court in Florida State that struggled to score.
Gillespie for 3.
You think Gillespie heard me? I'll show you struggling to score in the half court. I'll knock it down again.
Florida State on top by 5. Gillespie now 2 for 5 outside the three-point line. She has a game-high 16 points. Seppi gets free. Down the lane for 2. Confident drive by the sophomore from Bedford, Mass. And then a mistake. Turnover by Florida State. .245 to go in the fourth. And a timeout being called here by Bucknell. Florida State 4 for their last 4 from the field to take a 3-point lead. Bucknell with a key possession. Now, we've talked all about it. Outstanding 3-point shooting team. Do they look for a 3 here? Or just look for the highest percentage shot they can find?
It's going to be highest percentage shot. So much time to go here. Just a 3-point deficit. I expect right now, whatever Coach Rizzo is drawing up, I'm going to be surprised if it doesn't go through. High on-ball screen action, that's where they've been getting a lot, looking for the high-low, and then from there, potentially a high-post drive to the basket.
Jones is in the game for Florida State. She has 4 fouls. Lassiter is on the floor as well with her 4 fouls. Woolfolk on the bench right now with 4. Slagus on the floor for Bucknell with 4. Six to shoot. Taking a little bit too long here for Bucknell. Cap has to throw it up, but it comes too late. Shot clock violation. Turnover Bucknell. Florida State possession. 13th turnover for the Bison. Gillespie, good shooter, not this time. Batted around and won by Myers, who's played great, but a timeout is called by Florida State. Boy, Myers has been a big difference here for Florida State. Kept that alive, and Florida State will have it with 2:08 to go in the fourth.
But I'm going to give Lassiter credit for that offensive rebound going to Meyer, because she tipped it to her. She knew she couldn't grab it, tipped it to her big down low. And before she went up, Sue Semmerall calls the timeout. And that was to get Ikamu back in the game now. She needs this offensive execution. She gets her point guard back on the floor.
Florida State trying to set up another meeting with South Carolina. Those two programs have an interesting NCAA history. The last 2 meetings came in the Elite 8 during Carolina's run to the title, first off, or secondly, and then they lost in the Elite 8 back in 2015 in Greensboro to Carolina. Still a lot of time left in this game. Florida State with it and on top by 3. Woolfolk. Woolfolk on the drive. It was blocked from behind, batted around. Woolfolk's got it back for 2.
Just like the coach drew. If we don't get the first chance, we're going to get the second chance. Great perseverance by Woolfolk to stay with her shot.
Breakdown defensively. Slagus with a wide open look, but a second chance here for Bucknell. And a foul called on Florida State. Florida State is over the limit, so 2 free throws coming up for Walker.
That's one of those fouls by Ikamu that if you're going to settle behind in the low post, you've got to get ready to move your feet versus going for that steal there. Again, try to get the stop versus putting a very good free throw shooting team in Bucknell at the free throw line, because it's basically gimmies for them.
Walker with 17 points. She's 2 for 2 from the free throw line. 2 clutch free throws for Kate Walker. One possession game, 1:25 to go. Ikamu. Shot clock at 8. The entry to Myers. Myers doesn't get it. Myers gets it back, and Florida State's got it with a minute to go. And a foul's going to be called on Seppi, and she's done. That's her 5th personal foul.
You don't want to lose Seppi. However, had she not made that foul, it was going to be a wide open layup. So I thought that was a good foul by Seppi.
So that's it for the sophomore. She finishes with 4 points. Slagus will come in. Florida State had their team huddled up. Aaron Russell wanted to huddle up his team on that 5th foul. Four-team fouls on Bucknell, so Florida State shooting on the next foul. Woolfolk, 40 to go. Shot clock now at 10. Slagus comes out. Down to 5 on the shot clock. Ikamu for 3. Battle for the loose ball, won by Florida State, and now Bucknell's got a foul. Another offensive rebound. That's 20 offensive rebounds tonight for the Seminoles.
Well, Eric, this is the Florida State team that came in only averaging 10.9 points a game on second chance points, 15 to this point in the game.
Kaya Gillespie, 68% from the free throw line, 4 for 4 today. Foul on Ellie Mack, her first. After sitting out last year because of the transfer from Maryland, this year Gillespie is leading the team in scoring and in rebounding and in three-pointers made. She has her 12th double-double of the season here tonight.
So it's now a 2-possession game. Sue Summerall makes the substitution to get Wilkinson in. I'm sure that's to get a little bit more agility around the three-point line to defend.
1 of 2 from the free throw line, and Slagus didn't have possession. I think timeout was rewarded to Bucknell. Looked like it was heading out of bounds.
I didn't think anyone even had the ball when the whistle was blown.
There was no possession there. How was there a timeout rewarded there? That's a break for Bucknell, it looks like.
Huge.
Slagus doesn't fully have possession. No. She looks like she touched it last, but a timeout was awarded to Bucknell.
Huge opportunity for Bucknell. 2-possession ball game. And so I'm assuming Bucknell is going to advance the ball. We have not gotten the signal from the official yet.
Bucknell with 1 timeout remaining. Florida State with 1 timeout as well. It's a 2-possession game. Officials are standing near midcourt with the basketball.
So Eric, you didn't ask, but here's what I'm going to tell you I would do.
Hey Christy, what would you do?
I'm going to go for the quick 2. I've always believed teams spend too much time trying to get the 3 and you waste valuable seconds. Get a high percentage shot trying to get to the rim and then extend this game. So Florida State was trying to substitute Morgan Jones out. Unfortunately, the substitute got to the table too late, so Morgan Jones stays in the game.
So let's see what Bucknell does if they go for the quick 2. It's Walker. They do look inside. They get the quick 2. Abby Cap scores, and a timeout called by Florida State. 16.5 to go. 2-point lead for the Seminoles.
So the most important thing if you're Florida State is to get the ball inbounded. They are now out of timeouts. So you've got to set solid screens, open up your teammates to get the ball in first and foremost, and then they wait for Bucknell to foul.
Full timeout gives us a chance to reset things here with 16 and a half seconds to go in Charlotte. Bucknell looking for an NCAA win. They were here 2 years ago under head coach Aaron Russell. Trying to get to the second round. Florida State's won 15 in a row in the first round. Last time Florida State was a number 5 seed, they made it to the Sweet 16 in 2016. They beat Middle Tennessee State and Texas A&M in College Station. Right now doing all they can to get by the 12th seed, the Patriot League champions, Bucknell. Both teams in the bonus. Seminoles on top by 2 with the basketball. They'll inbound it in the front court. Ikamu's got it, and they've got to foul her, an 81% free throw shooter. Another 12-5 matchup in the first round going down to the wire. This one between the number 5 seed Florida State, the number 12 seed Bucknell. 14.6 to go in the fourth quarter. And the first free throw missed by Nikki Ikamu means no matter what, it's a one-possession game with the winner of this game to take on South Carolina here in Charlotte on Sunday.
But Eric, I have to say it right now, Bucknell needs to get the rebound first and foremost if this were to be a miss.
It's a make, it's a three-point game, and Bucknell will use their final timeout, advance to the front court. This is an excellent three-point shooting team. They're going to have to draw up their best three-point play to try to tie it up and force OT.
So a couple of things.
At least take it down to the wire.
Yeah, it could be a flare screen. Last time we saw the flare screen slip, that gave Cap the easy 2. But I think what's hard when you're Bucknell, all these threes that we talk about, so much of it's off of the screener setting those screens. I'm expecting Florida State to switch every screen right now to make it more difficult for Bucknell to get that open look.
Slagus, good three-point shooter at 40%. Mack at 39%. Cap number 1 on the team at 43%. So knowing that, what is Florida State's game plan here? Do they give a good three-point shooting team a chance to tie things up here? Do they foul?
I've never been a proponent of fouling. Just unless you have practiced it, and your teammates and your players know how to foul. Because the last thing you want to do is make that foul as they're shooting, and potentially that game winner go in.
And Florida State is without 3 players due to injury. They have had to put players into different positions, and Sue Semrau's had to spend most of her practice time teaching kids how to do a little something different that they're not expecting to do. So here we go. Bucknell with it, down by 3. Down to 10. English, the kick. Slagus, the open 3. Off the mark, a second chance here. English for 3. Rebound for Florida State, and that does it. Bucknell had 2 good looks, but in the end, Florida State survives. Another tight one between a 12 and a 5.
Hats off to Bucknell. They put them in a position to get this W, attack the glass, just couldn't get those final shots to go down.